Not going to dilly-dally, I'm going to get straight on with it and introduce our next speaker, Mr. Hans Schumann. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm extremely excited to be speaking here to you today, and had a long think about what shall I do with my space here. Because I'm a very practical guy, and I thought, well, how can I give them something really useful, something that they can take home in their handbag? So I'm wondering, who of you would be interested in learning the perfect, foolproof strategy for succeeding in your coaching business? Who would be interested in that? A few people, yeah? Well, you're not getting that. I mean, first of all, I'm only in my second year, so I'm kind of a beginner myself. And secondly, I'm not the first one to say this today, I do not believe that there is a single foolproof strategy to your success. Because we are all very different. We have different personality, different strengths. And I believe that to be successful in business or in any area of our life, we need to find out where our natural flow of energy is. And then align our life and our business to that flow. And the answer to that will be very different for each of you. So since, unfortunately, I can't give you the perfect, foolproof strategy for succeeding in your coaching business, I thought I'd give you the second best. So I'm going to give you the perfect, foolproof strategy for failing in your coaching business. Yeah. And I'm not joking. I mean, the title kind of gives us away. That's what I'm going to talk about. And at the end of the session, you will also understand why I believe it's actually really useful that we know how to fail in our coaching business. But before I do this, let me check in what the vibe is in the room, because we've been sitting here for a very long time. Who of you has already heard something really inspiring, something interesting? Everybody, fantastic, me too. And who of you now maybe feels a little bit tired? A little bit tired, difficult to concentrate? Yeah, quite a few. Maybe already thinking about what are you going to do after the German leaves the stage? Yeah? Okay. And that's all natural. I mean, we are all human beings. And at the same time, we are all coaches. And what that means is, as coaches, we can manage our states, can't we? Some of you are probably thinking, managing states, when did we do this? Was it foundation? Was it presence? I can't remember that. Well, Animas, as far as I know, doesn't quite cover it in the way I'm going to talk about it now. But let's just imagine you're about to see a client and you want to be in a peak state, like 100% awake and concentrated. But you're actually really tired and exhausted. Anybody been in that situation? Yeah, quite a few. I mean, it happens to me all the time. So what do you do? Because you want to be in a peak state, and your client also has a reasonable expectation for you to be there, fully present for them, in particular if they pay for your services. Who of you has a little tool or ritual that helps them getting back in peak state before they see a client? Few? And who of you uses meditation as that tool? Yeah, okay, probably most of you. Meditation is really a great tool for that, and I use it too. And today I would like to offer you another one, which is a little bit more energetic, and do that with you. Would that be useful to have another tool? Yeah, cool. But here's the deal. I'm going to demonstrate it, but you have to do it with me. And the reason I say that, because first of all, you need to experience it to really test how it works. And secondly, it is a bit silly. And it will probably make you cringe. I'm actually pretty sure that it will make most of you cringe. But you're all playful, aren't you? You're going to play with me? Are you, yeah? So, okay, if I can ask you to get up. I'm going to say out loud a number of statements, a little bit like affirmations. And I want you to repeat them after me. And as I make these statements, as I say these statements, I make certain gestures with my hand. And I would like you to copy them as well. And I can't believe I'm doing this, because this is so not Animas. And actually, it's so not me. Maybe I will never get invited again. But here we go. So, I'm leading, and you just repeat everything after me. Ready to go? Ready to play? Come. I am a master coach. I coach people to be the best they can be. I'm focused. I ask powerful questions that go to the core of the issue. I am a master coach. Wow, I didn't. Well, I told you it would make you cringe. Let's do it one more time. And I put it on here, the text. Let's one more time. And really put a lot of energy into the movements. I am a master coach. I coach people to be the best they can be. I have focus. I ask powerful questions that go to the core of the issue. I am a master coach. And the last time, I am a master coach. I coach people to be the best they can be. I have focus. I ask powerful questions that go to the core of the issue. I am a master coach. Now, just sense what's going on in your body. Can you feel how the blood is circulating a little bit more? Who feels a little bit more energized, a little bit more awake? Thank you, you can sit down. So, this is not about me really thinking I'm a master coach or I will become a master coach just by telling myself that I am one. I wish it was that easy. It is really about finding something that helps us to manage our states. And you may have another tool or another preference, but whatever we do, it is our responsibility that we turn up in the most resourceful state when we meet our clients. And this is just one of many ways which we can do it. So hopefully you're all awake now. So who is this madman who makes you make these silly things? I'm Hans Schumann. I qualified with Animas 2 years ago, and I coach under the Masterful Living brand. Masterful Living means for me, first of all, understanding that we are the masters of our life, having a master plan for our life, and becoming more effective at managing our emotions and behaviors. Strictly speaking, I'm a general coach, although for marketing purposes, I specialize on career coaching. It's just an easy way that works for me, and most people who come to me are interested in career coaching. I'm about to publish a book on career coaching. It's a self-coaching book, Falling in Love with Your Job, for people who either want to re-engage with a current career or find a new one that inspires them more. And if you are interested in career coaching, there are lots of tools and exercises in there that you may find useful too. The fact that I'm standing here today is an absolute miracle to me, because just like Sarah, I used to be very ill. 2 years ago, I was ill for 5 years ago, I was ill for 2 years and housebound with inflammatory bowel disease, and I never thought I would have a normal life again. And as I came out of this, coaching actually helped me rebuilding my life from the ashes. And it's just amazing, like Sarah says, you never really know. You never know, things can change very quickly. But I don't want to talk too much about this today. If you really want to know the story, it's on my website. I want to talk about something far more important, and this is helping you find a strategy for failing in your coaching business. Well, why did I come up with this topic? Well, this is actually a little game that I learned from Rich Litvin. For those people who don't know him, he's the co-author of the book, The Prosperous Coach, absolutely amazing book. And I went to one of his intensive workshops in LA, and he plays this game with his clients. The idea of that game is, let's imagine you have a client who has a goal, and for example, a woman wants to find a boyfriend. And you ask all the coaching questions to help develop a strategy for finding a boyfriend, but you're not getting anywhere. You ask the normal questions like, what could you do? And she says, I don't know. Well, if you did know, what would you do? I don't know. Who do you know who might know? And you play that game, she doesn't come up with anything. Well, that kind of client, whilst he or she may find it difficult to find out, to tell you what they could be doing, they most likely already know all the things that they are currently doing that prevents them from achieving their goal. So if you would ask that client, so what do you think you're currently doing that prevents you from finding a boyfriend? She may find it easier to say, Well, I guess staying in with a takeaway every Friday night doesn't really help, or always saying no to party invitations, or standing on my own in the corner when I'm at an event. And because that is an easier access to the topic for many clients, once you have established with them what they're doing that prevents them from achieving their goal, you also have very easily your strategy for achieving the goal, because it's normally the turnaround, the reverse of it. So today I want to play this game with you, and as I'm speaking, you may want to take notes and write down ideas of things that you currently do and that's preventing you from either becoming successful, or if you're already successful, becoming more successful as a coach. And the number one rule of this game is it needs to be something that you actually do, because otherwise it's not really relevant to you. And I'm going to lead this game by telling you about my 5 top tips for failing in your coaching strategy. Things that I've done, and some of them are a little bit embarrassing, but I'm putting it all out here today. Are you interested in hearing my 5 tips for failing in your coaching business? Well, number 1 tip. If you want to fail in your coaching business, I really recommend that you start with a logo. And Marcus is laughing because he knows the story. Why does this work so well? Well, if you start with a logo at the beginning of your coaching journey, it's quite likely that you don't even know what kind of coach you want to be, what your message is, your clients, and so on. So you can't actually give any meaningful brief to the graphic designer. And the graphic designer will then make something up, which you probably don't like. Then you ask your friends. They don't know what to say because they don't know who you want to be. You can't make up your mind because you don't know who you want to be. Then very quickly you are in this downward spiral of anxiety, frustration, and you use time and money on it, and it just perfectly distracts you from what you really need at the beginning, which is practicing clients, finding a marketing strategy, and so on, to something that you don't really need, because you don't need a logo. If you go back to my website, there's no logo. Still works. I mean, it's nice to have a logo, and I always like buying the gadgets. When I have a new hobby, I need to buy all the gadgets, and for me, having a logo was, yeah, no, I'm a coach, now I need to have a logo. So this is what I did. I spent £700 on these designs, and I hated them all. And behind this, there was a lot of discussion with lots of people, and in the end I decided, you know what, I just give it up. I don't need a logo. And I was right, I didn't need a logo. So if you want to set yourself up on a really bad foot at the beginning of your coaching business, I recommend start with a logo. This leads on nicely to my second tip. Create a cryptic website. And this is a Hans Schumann special, because I do not believe that anybody in the room would have done something as silly as I did. Because what do I mean by a cryptic website? I mean this. And this was the website. There was, the homepage, there was nothing else on it, no other text. So what was going on in this mind? Well, I wanted to be special. And you know that's something that you may have experienced also in life, in various areas of life. Often when we are trying to be special too much, it gets us away from what we really want in life. And here I thought, I don't want to have that standard template that everybody has. I bought a special templates from a company called Elegant Themes. I paid £60 for this. And admittedly, once you hovered with the cursor over the banner, then there would be a nice drop-down menu, quite elegant, quite minimalistic. And I thought I was going for the wow effect, elegant style, exclusivity. I really thought it was a good idea. There were a few people who told me, Hans, I don't quite sure whether that's working. But also there were quite a lot of people who told me, oh, I really love that. And particularly when I told them the story about the chestnut, there's a whole story behind it. But obviously you can't read that story because it's not on the homepage. So I had a wake-up call in a mentoring session with Nick Bolton, where he told me, Hans, if you really don't believe me that this is not working, have a look at Google statistics, at Google Analytics. And for those of you who don't know what that is, it's a free service from Google. You can register your website, and Google starts to collect data about how visitors behave when they visit your website. You can see where they come from, which country, which device, on which page they start, and how they click through your website. So when I looked at Google Analytics, I found out that the drop-off rate on this homepage was 95%. This means of 100 visitors, only 5 ever clicked through and saw some content. So I had to admit, it's not working. And then I created this. And I'm not claiming this is the best possible website, but let me tell you why this works better than the previous one. It's almost the reverse of the previous one, because on this one, you see everything that you need to know above the fold. You don't need to scroll down. And what is it what the visitor needs to see? First of all, they see me. And that's not about vanity. This is because I'm the brand and I'm the product. It's Hans Schumann Coaching. I'm Hans Schumann. And they buy time with me. I'm the product. So people want to know who they are going to deal with. And this is not about seeing a nice face. It's about seeing something in the face that they can connect to, whether it's humor, wisdom, compassion, maturity, whatever it is. It also tells people that it's about coaching. That's helpful. And it has the parts in green with a tick. These are my sales promises. That probably makes some of you cringe, sales promises. But as Nick Bolton said, I really love this quote, coaching is not a business. Coaching is a skill. If we want to make it a business, we need to sell and we need to market. So on this website, I want to sell too. And you know, nobody wants to buy coaching. They only want what coaching gives them. And we need to help them understanding what that is. Many people don't even know what coaching is. So here I tell people that if they coach with me, they will gain a sense of identity and purpose, create a fulfilling career, manage themselves more effectively, create successful life outcomes, improve your life skills. So they have a rough idea what it actually is that I offer. And finally, there is a very clear call to action. It's clear what I want visitors to do. I want them to download my free ebook. And the reason I want them to download my free ebook is because I want to have their email address. And that is how you build a mailing list. And you will see there are lots of websites. People offer something of value for free, and in return, people have to register the email address. And that's important because many visitors won't actually immediately interact with you. They may just have a look at it and go away. And if you don't capture the email address, they may be lost. Having a mailing list enables you to continue to talk to them, send them relevant information in a newsletter, or offer them your services. So this now works much better, but if you want to fail in your coaching business, make a cryptic like this. Tip number 3, and some speakers already mentioned that, it's really useful to choose a marketing strategy you really hate. That works so well because you will pretty much resent your business. Who of you hates going to open networking events, talking to strangers, handing out business cards? Yeah, me too. Well, just imagine that you force yourself to do it. Yes, you can get better at it over time, but if it's not your natural flow of energy, then you will probably never be that good at it. What then happens is your confidence will fall because you see that it's not really working. You don't get clients. Your business isn't as successful as you would like it to be. You get frustrated, and you may even give up on your coaching business. I really believe that there is a marketing strategy that is right for everybody. And I found my personal flow through the Wealth Dynamic Psychometric Test, and I now do that with my clients as well. It's on my website if you want to find it. And that helped me understand that going out and doing open networking, I can do it, but it's not the best use of my energy. For me, it's better to build strong relationship with just a few people who do that for me. People who are natural networkers. Could be friends, could be clients, or affiliations like recruitment agencies, HR departments, dating agency, people who can do the talking for me. Far more effective. Also, for me personally, it's more effective to do marketing behind my computer, like writing the book or writing LinkedIn articles, connecting via email. And each of you will have your natural flow as well. And it's important to find out what that is and then design a strategy that really leverages what is natural and enjoyable for all of you. But if you want to fail, then do something like this. Force yourself into a marketing strategy that doesn't work. This works well alongside that. Never, ever offer your coaching services. It looks like this. Have you ever been in a situation where you talk to somebody about coaching and that person said, oh yeah, I could do with coaching, and you said, nothing? Anybody been in that situation? Few people? I even know an Animas co-fellow, she told me this funny story. She too was talking to somebody and he said to her, oh, I could do coaching. And she said, oh, I know a coach, why don't you go to that person? And after he walked away, she said, oh my God, I'm a coach. I could have coached him. I mean, really, offering our coaching services is really important because we do actually do people a favor. And it doesn't need to be salesly pushy. It could be a simple response saying like, so what would be interesting to work on? Or would you like some help with that? Well, how about we have a call next week and we talk about this? Or would you like to give me your email address and I'll send you some interesting information? Anything like that. Because if we don't offer our coaching services, we won't find clients, we won't make money, our business will not be successful, we will have to give up one day, and then nobody benefits from our services. Next one, never charge what you're worth. Some people already mentioned that here today, and that looks a little bit like this. I mean, this woman actually has 70 euros on her hands, which is not too bad, but I like this facial expression. It's a little bit this like, I charge 50 pounds because I'm actually not very good at coaching. Actually, I'm a little bit rubbish. And if you don't do it for 50, then maybe we could do it for 30. I mean, obviously, when we are at the beginning of our coaching journey, we do it for free first, and we gradually increase our coaching rates. But think about it. As was mentioned before, your coaching has a value. And even just after the foundation module, you already have the skills to ask questions that people have never heard, that people have never been asked before, and that can transform their life. And often compare coaching with other services like having a massage. Having a massage in London for an hour normally costs about 60 pounds. And it doesn't actually last very long. What you can do with a simple question just from the foundation weekend can last for life. It can really create amazing shifts. So have a think about how you want to position yourself. Because if you charge a very low rate, and ideally with this face, then people will make an assumption about the value that you have. And also, you need to make it sustainable. Because if you don't make it sustainable, then very soon you won't be able to coach at all because you have to get another job. And that would be a shame. Knowing the value that we provide and charging a fair price for it is really essential for our enjoyment in the coaching business, being able to serve more people and making it all sustainable. But if you want to fail in your coaching business, then obviously that's a very good way forward. So these are my 5 tips for failing in your coaching business. Now I'm going to give you a few minutes where you can write down your top 5 tips for failing in your coaching business. And remember, the number 1 rule is these need to be things that you currently do that prevent you from either being successful or from being more successful. And I'm going to give you, how many minutes do we have left? 5? I'm going to give you 3 minutes for that. What are the things that you know you are doing and that are in the way of you becoming more successful? And you already know them. There may actually be more than 5.
Ready to fall, ready to claim. I'm ready for it all, ready for the day. Meet on the sun.
Really make use of this time, because you don't know whether you will ever think about that again in this kind of way. So whenever there's an opportunity to do this self-exploration, I really invite you to make best use out of it. Because when we're on our own, we don't often tend to push ourselves that much.
Behind the walls, love, and trying to change. And I'm ready for a ball, love. I'm ready for a change.
Okay, come back to the room. So if you've done the exercise, then you will have a few items that tell you what you're currently doing that is preventing you from being more successful. And that's really a great starting point, because that gives you the information of the reverse of what you do need to do to become more successful. I think this is a really fun game, and I play it sometimes with my clients. It's a really nice opening game. It's a bit humorous, it breaks it up, it makes it easier for some clients to access a particular topic. And maybe you'd like to experiment with this as well. So that's all I wanted to talk about today. I love the Animas community. Animas is very much still a backbone of my coaching business, because coaching is a really lonely, or can be a lonely business. And I love the fact that there is the lounge where I can ask questions, where I can help other people, where we can celebrate success, and also the trainers are very accessible. And I want to do my part to bring value to this community. So if you want to connect, I would love to hear from you, and I will accept all invitations. And if you have any questions, then I'm happy to help too. And that's all for today. Thank you very much for your attention, and enjoy the rest of the day. Oh, surely there aren't any questions.
Awesome. Lovely stuff. Thank you. Could you turn me up, please, Laura? Thank you. Lovely. Great. I love the idea of looking at what we're doing badly and then doing the reverse to see what's going on. I'm curious, is anybody brave enough to shout out what they've noticed they might not be doing so well? Go for it. There's one here.
Spending too much time on Facebook reading other people's posts.
Say that again for us.
Spending too much time on Facebook reading other people's irrelevant posts.
Lovely. Brilliant. Thank you for that. There's one at the back.
So mine is holding back too much, so in honour of that, I'm getting hold of the microphone.
Ah, lovely. Holding back too much. There's another one there.
I always apologise for my total self.
Apologise for?
My total self.
Apologising for total self. There's one here.
Waiting for the perfect moment.
Ah, lovely. Waiting for the perfect moment.
Expect instant perfection.
Ah, instant perfection. I love it.
Don't tell people what you do.
Not telling people what you do.
Keep 100% control of everything.
Oh, yes. Of everything.
Prioritising everything else in my life over my work.
Ah, prioritising everything else in your life above your work. There's one here.
I didn't want to appear desperate,
So I pretended that I didn't really need the business, to the point where the clients actually, or the potential clients actually, thought that I wasn't interested in working with them.
Nice, love it, brilliant. And it's great when you hear those things that we're doing and then can just, apply the turnaround to see what are the things that we could do to enable our business to be more successful. That's great. Thank you so much for sharing that. So I'm just curious if we have any more questions for Hans around. Nina's fired already before I finish the sentence. Go for it.
And it's just a bit of a change of topic from what we've been talking today. I'd love to know about the process you went through for the book. So what was it that really created hurdles for you and overcame them?
Very practical points. Actually, writing the book was really easy. It was all my head. I mean, I basically wrote down what I do with my clients. I have the process, I've got the tools, really easy. But getting it to print through self-publishing turned out to be really hard. I signed up with this program 10-10-10, which helps you through the process, but I found out that it was really soulless. It was just a number. They had suppliers that produced really awful work in terms of editing, formatting, graphic design. I had to hire all my own suppliers and pay double. And I'm still having problems with the formatting, so I really hope I will actually manage to get it out in November. But I mean, you learn from these things. It's all good learning.
Yeah, and one of the things I'd also say, if you're a coach and you want to publish a book, talk to the other Animites in the lounge who have gone through that process and see what they've gone through, because you can really learn about some of the challenges that you might find along the road of publishing. Thank you.
I was just going to say, I'm happy to have a chat. Anybody who wants to publish a book, never written, never considered myself an author, and I've just been given a publishing deal, so I'm happy to share the process I went through.
Thanks, Nicola. That's great. So we can all have a chat with Nicola. Lovely. Thank you. Here we go.
Just a quick question for Hans. Do you share your fees sort of publicly on the website and on Life Coach Directory and etc. and be upfront about your fees, or do you have a conversation with someone first and then share your fees?
Generally, no, I don't share the fees, although some websites on which I'm on require you to give a price. So I normally tell them that I charge £90 for the initial consultation. I don't do free consultations, but I don't tell them what the actual price for my coaching packages is, which is actually higher.
Lovely. Cool. Does anybody who's got a website have their prices on the website? Just to raise their hands. So a couple of people. Anybody got a website who doesn't have their price on it? So people as well. So I think it's a choice thing there as well about how you want to work. I think about whether you have your price on your website or not. And like some of the speakers have said earlier, I think playing around with that, trying it out and seeing how it works for you, how it works for your clients might be really useful.
So the reason why I don't publish it, because I want to have a conversation first. When they see my prices, they may actually think it's quite expensive. But I had people who talked to me and could see the value of the coaching through the discussion, and then it's easier to tell them what the price is.
Lovely. Brilliant. Thank you. Let's have a few more questions. One down at the front.
Just on the scene, you're saying you're showing them the value. So how do you usually explain to your clients what kind of value they receive from your coaching?
What kind of
What kind of value do they receive from your coaching? How do you explain
value,
it to
okay.
him? Yeah. How do you show it?
Well, I mean, it normally starts by them telling me what they want. And then we explore what's in the way, what are their challenges, and they see the value at the end of the conversations by seeing what would happen if they don't do anything, and what could happen if they take steps. And at the end, I don't actually need to sell at the end, because it just flows naturally. Either they want to work with me or not, and I don't push them. So they normally see the value themselves at the end of that discussion.
Lovely, thank you. Let's take one more question from Hans, or for Hans, should I say? No more. Oh, there's one.
Hans, thank you so much. That was so sort of energizing and inspiring. So it's a nice way to raise the energy for the afternoon. It was a good way to get me focused. you mentioned very briefly where you came from, that you were ill for 2 years, and then you went on your journey, and I'm going to go onto your website to read that. But I'm just really curious about what it was on your journey through your coaching training and exploring that led you to developing the way you're working now, and why you're focusing on the career development and coaching.
Well, the health crisis connected me to something that I already had. It was a wake-up call that connected me to my true value. Because even from the age of 13, I already read personal development books. Then I went to retreat, lots of Buddhist retreats. I mean, I've been pursuing it all through my life. And it was quite in contrast to what I did work-wise, which was being a lawyer in financial services. And there were lots of wake-up calls in my life, but it took the disease to actually, for me, to apply all the things that I've learned. And when all medication failed, and there was only one thing that the doctors could offer me, which was to remove my colon, I took action. And I cleared up my negative beliefs, or at least some of them, we always have some. I created new reasons to live and to be healthy for. I worked with healing meditations, visualizations of the future, and that suddenly turned my disease around. I mean, I don't have proof that it really was that, but my medical results suddenly started to change. And from that I was wondering, what else is possible? And I started my first 1-year coaching package with Tony Salimi, another ex-Animas student, and that was one of the best investments in my life. It was at an eye-watering price, a lot of money, but it really helped me rebuild my life from the ashes and find out what I really want from my life and then create that for me.
Nice, lovely, thank you. Awesome, let's give hands a round of applause.
Thank you.
Thank you.